Hello, gorgeous. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on the phrase, my life could be worse, or someone has it worse than I do. I think it's a pretty messed up phrase, to be honest. I'm sure we've all heard it at some point when not wanting to eat what our mom cooked. You know, her saying that some poor starving kid in Africa would kill to have what we have, so eat your broccoli or mushrooms or something gross. And it's weird that we would use that phrase to think of someone who's in a tragic situation to make ourselves feel better or make our tragic situation not seem as bad. And even though we take in the same information, we all process it differently. Like paper cuts. We've all had one. If you haven't, please share your secret. I get them all the time. And the thing is, we all act to them differently. Some people just shake their hand real hard. Some cuss. Some say they hurt for days. Other people just slap Band-Aid on it and say, it's just another cut. Doesn't matter. And even though we've all shared that same experience, it's all processed differently. And even though, some people are like, oh, I got a paper cut. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I understand that hurts so bad. While other people are just like, just paper cut. They're not being rude. They've just went through the same experience and their mind has processed it differently. Same as parents dying. Someone might be heartbroken for the rest of their life. They can't look at things that remind them of their parents because it just breaks them all over again. While other people, it breaks them, but life goes on and they learn to live again and to remember the happy thoughts. Some people are glad their parents are dead because they were abusive, and some didn't really know their parents. So it's just, So while it's all the same type of pain, same type of tragedy, they all think of it differently. Much like how in third grade I took turkeys to my class. And they were for Thanksgiving. And my dad was a fisherman. He went out, he caught live fish, they died. We ate them. So I knew how things were. So for me, I was prepared. I was mentally prepared knowing that these birds were going to die so we could eat them. So it wasn't that big a deal to me. Thanksgiving came and went back to class. They asked, where are the turkeys? And being in third grade and a little kid, I just blurted out, oh, we ate them. And there were some kids there that had raised animals to eat, so they're like, oh, yeah, okay. Didn't faze them. Other kids, they knew where their food came from, but had never met the animal before it died. So they were a little sad, but they're like, yeah, I get it. And then there were the kids that sat in the corner and cried the whole class because I killed the pretty white birds. Others were upset, but they slowly, like, oh, it dawned on them, this is where my food actually comes from. I understand now. And even though they all shared the same experience of meeting these 3 white turkeys, they all processed what had happened differently. And that goes for all things in our lives. From what we see to what we read. We could all read the same poem or book and take something different from it because our mind's going to process it differently. And some people get angry that you don't see from their point of view or you don't get what they mean. Much like people who are scared of certain animals. For me, I'm scared of spiders. I cannot fathom how anyone could keep one as a pet. It's gross. To me, it is disgusting. I can't fathom it. At the same time, I can't fathom anyone being scared of snakes. I love snakes. I have one. I've had one for 6 years. And I can't fathom how people could not love them. They're sweet. They love to cuddle. And it makes me realize how the people that like spiders must feel when they try to talk to me about something they like and I want nothing to do with it. I just can't handle just pictures and talking and touching and that's how a lot of people are when you try to connect with them about something that's happened in your life. You go up to them, you be vulnerable, you share your weakness, this happened to me, scared me, whether it's something simple, something major, something that rattled you, or something that just makes you feel uneasy. Some people, they can understand, they can empathize. Oh, I know where you're coming from, or I felt that before. And then you have the people that are just like, I don't get it. What are you talking about? And they're not trying to be rude. They're not trying to belittle you or make your problem seem small. They just don't understand. It doesn't register. Much like my mom can't fathom how I can't get back on my horse. In high school, she fell on me, straight up back and over. And for years, it didn't bother me. I just kept riding bareback, mountain rides, never bothered me. And then I ended up going to a chiropractor around 25 because my back was hurting. And he asked me, is there anything in your life you can think of that would cause this? And I told him how my horse fell on me. And he just stared at me. He's like, are you okay with that? Like, that must have been horrible. And to me, I had never thought of it that way. Like, should it have been horrible? Should it have been a bad experience? I didn't process that way at the time. But now that I was older, my brain went back over that memory and processed it differently. Even though it was already set in my mind changed itself. And I realized I could have died. I was riding a Western, and it had a huge horn on it. If it would have hit anywhere on my body, I would have bled out before they got me to a hospital. My parents didn't know I was riding. I just said I was going to the barn. And if it had hit anywhere on my chest, it would have crushed me. I would have just died. I would have just been stuck to the saddle, dead, draped over my horse. And while my sister can empathize because she's been thrown off really bad and hurt herself, and she can empathize with it, my mom can't. She's been kicked in the face by her horse, broke her eye socket, healed, got back on the same horse and rides him still. Like, it's no big deal. Like, for her, she processed it, like, amazingly. Like, whatever, it was an accident, it's fine. And since she was able to process something like that and get over it and know that it's not something she needs to worry about, she can't fathom how I can't. And that's how we are as people. We may have gone through the same trauma or incident, but we're going to come out of it differently. There may be empathy, a little bit understanding, but we'll never truly understand how that person processed that incident and how it impacted their life. And to say, this part of my life sucks, but I have it better than someone else. For someone else, getting in a car wreck might be crippling. They might have anxiety to the point that they can't drive anymore. While other people are like, sweet, I get a new car, and aren't even fazed by it. It changes your perspective of how you see things changes. Like the video of the turtle getting the straw pulled out of its nose. Some people went to the extreme saying ban all straws. Some people don't care. And then you got people like in the middle who are like, yeah, it sucks, but what are you going to do? Or maybe we should find different plastic that works, so on, so forth. The thing is we all took in the same video. We all watched the exact same thing. Nothing was altered. It's the exact same video. And yet we all have completely different opinions of it. And a lot of people find those opinions offensive and rude and, oh, you don't care, or you care too much, or you're being extreme. And the thing is that's how their mind works, how they process it. To them, it's a big deal. It is a huge deal. And that video changed their life. While other people, not so much. Maybe they've seen worse. Maybe they know things are worse than that. So to them, something like that video isn't that big a deal. And to judge your life by how other people process things doesn't work. Because you're the only person who can process what's going through your mind. And while it's hard to share with other people the hurt or troubles or how your mind works with some people, you'll find those connections with people that think on the same line or can empathize. And sometimes you run into people who don't understand or understand what you went through, but they processed it way better than you did because they were used to it, or something had happened in their past that got them ready for what was coming. And they're not trying to be rude, and they're not trying to belittle you. And I know I'm guilty of someone coming up and saying something and me going, okay, and I don't get what your problem is. And I genuinely didn't mean to be rude. I didn't mean to make them feel bad. We went back and talked about it again, and smooth things out, but I didn't get it. I didn't understand. And there's nothing wrong with not understanding someone else's problems, because we all have different ones. Sometimes they're the same and we just got through them differently. For what's earth shattering for someone might be just brush it off for someone else. So you should enjoy your life. And if you process something some way, don't feel bad for having those thoughts, for processing it and feeling the way that you feel, because it's how you feel. How you can't control how someone else feels. You can show them the same video or read the same article you read 1,000 times, but they're going to process it differently than you do. And that's just how life is. All the same information, processed differently. So really, opinions aren't something that we should be offended by or insulted with, or, oh my gosh, can't believe you don't care about this. It's just our minds taking in the same thing and putting out something different. So you should just enjoy what life you have. And if someone hurts you by saying they don't understand why you're upset, don't be angry with them. Don't think that they don't care. It's that they don't understand. And you could talk to blue in the face, and they still probably won't understand, because everyone processes things differently. Doesn't mean you're any less loved or any less cared for. It's just misunderstanding of the same information that didn't impact them the same ways you did. And that's just my 2 cents on the thought.